On the menu today in the 10th Africa Eco Race, a long, sandy stage with yet more dunes to navigate. Having set out thinking they had already endured the toughest day of the race, there was a rude awakening for all the competitors, who all agreed that this was by far the hardest stage yet. Those that made it across the finish line were glassy-eyed with fatigue and relief. They won't forget this day in a hurry. In total today, there was 340 km of timed stage between Attar and Akjut. The bikes finished over 2 hours later than expected on today's monster stage. Once again, Paul Anders Olavalseter encountered mechanical issues halfway round. He came home in the helicopter and left his bike on the broom wagon. The Norwegian appears to be riding this race as a part-timer. Hats off to Jonathan Blackburn. The Brit came home first Malmoto, his goal being to win that race within the race. He set off today in terrible pain after the stitches to his side had to be glued back together last night. He came in 9th. For today's top three, we see the same riders, but in reverse order after a hellish day in the sand. Luis Oliveira thought he had won, but picked up a 23-minute penalty for speeding through a controlled zone. He ended up third. It was a long and difficult stage, the most difficult I have ever done. It was very hard to get over the dunes. The bike is running well. I am also okay. I'm very happy with the day. And tomorrow it should be a very much easier day, and I'm happy to be nearly finished. Visibly exhausted, this man was also happy to be finished. Simone Agazzi finished second for the second day in a row. The Italian is learning a lot on his first Africa Eco Race and overall seems to be enjoying it. Today was much harder than yesterday. Getting through the sand was really hard. We had to go over dunes, not high, but really soft. I like the stage, I validated all my waypoints, and the bike is running well. We are nearly in Dakar. All is well. Experience and wisdom got Paolo Cecchi through the never-ending dunes and soft sand today. The Italian struggled but came home on top once again. For the race leader, the hardest part is now over. They said yesterday would be the hardest, but no. Today was the hardest stage of the Africa Eco Race. There were lots of very difficult dunes to cross and lots of navigation. There was a bit of confusion because we couldn't see any tracks. I'm pleased with my day. One more stage to go. I just need to concentrate and not make any mistakes. Today's results are as follows. 5th stage win for Paolo Cecchi in front of his fellow Italian Agazzi, with Luis Oliveira relegated to 3rd. Rui Oliveira was 4th ahead of the Norwegians Helmersen and Jensen. In the GC, Cecchi expands his lead over Oliveira, who took a 23-minute penalty. He is now 1 hour, 9 minutes ahead of the Portuguese rider. The first Malmoto, Jonathan Blackburn, is 5th, and the American Nathan Rafferty is 6th. One of Thierry Sabine's goals, which quickly became a priority for Jean-Louis Schlesser, was to help the African populations, especially the children. In collaboration with Ahmad, the rally made a pit stop in Tawaz to distribute solar lamps for children living without electricity. The idea is to help remote areas. There are regions that do not have electricity because they aren't hooked up to the national grid. These lamps will help them to do their homework in the evening or help them get home at night. That's why we wanted to help. We try to help more and more every year, and that's why we brought the lamps. It's an African company that makes them, and for us, we are proud of that. Mohammed and I try to do everything we can.
De faire tout ce qu'on peut. 1000 lampes.
1,000 lamps, 500 for Mauritania and 500 for Senegal. It's the first time since 2009 that an organisation such as the rally has come to our aid. Thank you to them. It makes a big difference to the schoolwork of the disadvantaged children. It will really help them to improve at school. This help comes at just the right time because it's an investment in the children for disadvantaged families. The families sacrifice a lot to send their kids to school. It's a struggle for them to send their kids to school. Our country really needs its children educated. Sending them to school is looking after their futures. The government is aware of that. Here in Tawaz, the nearest electrical lines are 3 kilometers away. The state is aware and is trying to expand the network. Now the children will be able to revise in the hope that next year they will have electricity. Along with Jean-Louis Schlesser, we will decide who gets the lamps. The aim this year is to really bring solar energy to the children who will not get power for another year.
Bénéficier de l'énergie l'année prochaine.
Again, on behalf of the community, the mayor and the headmaster, and on behalf of our country, a very big thank you to Jean-Louis and the organisers of the AfricaEcoRace. The car and truck drivers were in total agreement about the stage. A brute. A great day in the dunes, however, for Loic Bonnevie and Sophie Hammis, who came in 6th. A real feat, achieving the highest ever stage position of an SSV in the history of the AfricaEcoRace. The feel-good story of the day comes from Johannes van der Laar. He stopped twice to help Gerard de Roy dig his lorry out of the sand, and as a gesture of fair play and thanks, the driver of the green Iveco let his compatriot cross the line to be first truck home. It was really hard. After 200 kilometers, I thought it was never going to finish. I must have asked my co-pilot about 10 times how far we still had to go. The last part was good, but hard. But here we are. He thought he was on Mars. Tired from digging his car out of the soft sand several times and from difficult navigation, Vassiliev finished the stage in 4th place. One thing is for sure this year, he won't be doing the double. This man was also exhausted on arrival. Guillaume Gomez was 3rd after learning a lot from his co-pilot Francois Brassotto at the wheel today. We didn't think it would be as hard as that. The terrain was difficult, but mostly it was hard because we got stuck 5 or 6 times at the start.
5 ou 6 fois aujourd'hui déjà au départ.
And then we got stuck again. We lost about 3/4 of an hour in the first really soft erg. Every year is different. We have to go right into the dunes. We got stuck again. We took another 3/4 of an hour to get the car out. It was difficult because Francois was really tough on me every time I got us stuck. I got a bit of a hard time from him. Mathieu Serradori was 2nd today, but was all over the place in the dunes. He and Lurkan had a painful day, especially as their radio went down towards the end of the stage. They finished communicating in sign language. Today was really hard, very physical. I think it was the hardest stage of the rally. It wasn't supposed to be, but we soon realised what we had got ourselves into. Fabien and I really had to concentrate.
On s'est vraiment pris au jeu de rester concentré tout ça. On a doublé.
We saw quite quickly that Vladimir was stuck.
Qui était posé. Nous, je sais pas
We have
comment
no
on est passé
idea
sur
how we
la
got over
première
that
grosse
first
dune.
dune.
Il y avait des spectateurs,
There were
on est passé à
spectators.
droite, à gauche,
We passed to
enfin
the
bref, on est
right, to
passé
the
en
left,
force.
really
C'est
fast.
passé, puis
That's
après, on
how
a
the
fait la
day
journée,
went.
la journée.
We got into
C'est vrai
really
qu'on est
soft
rentré dans du
sand.
sable très mou. Ouais,
We got stuck a lot, but I think least of everyone.
Ce jeu-là, c'est nous qui nous sommes le moins posés, enfin le moins longtemps. Je pense que Fabian a sorti.
Fabian had to roll up his sleeves today. We got out the sand ladders and the jacks. It was a real team effort. It was all fine until 60 kilometers from the end, when our radio died and we had to finish using sign language.
On a parlé en langage des signes pour arriver, pour vous trouver.
The incredible win of the day was from Malabeel and Malabar, otherwise known as Dominic Lohr and Christophe Crespo, one a former raid participant. They won their first stage ever. Climbing out of their Optimus, no one was more surprised than them at their exceptional win.
C'est une grosse surprise.
It's a huge surprise because we didn't expect it at all. Even more than yesterday, we suffered in the dunes because this is my first rally raid. We were really worried about the dunes. Christophe is here to help me, to guide me. Yesterday we got stuck for 2 hours and we lost our whole day. Today I was cautious and we decided to play it cool from the start. Slowly we got faster and faster and we managed to get through the dunes. I really don't know how, but today all just clicked. In today's car truck rankings, victory for Lauren Crespo ahead of Serradori and Gomez. Vasilyev was 4th. Thomas Tomacek alone at the wheel of Tatra was 9th. In the GC with a lead of 57 minutes and 28 seconds over Vasilyev, victory is within Mathieu Serradori's grasp. Pascal Thomas is still 3rd and Gerard de Roy 4th. Tomorrow sees the last Mauritanian stage and the very last dunes to cross. From there, we arrive in Saint Louis in Senegal. One last roadbook to decipher, a sting in the tail to keep the suspense high. That's it for today. We'll leave you with the best shots of the toughest stage yet. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.